Hi everyone, my name is Thomas Pollock. I'm a second semester senior majoring in psychology. Today I'm going to tell you about the research I conducted on urban stress and life history strategy. Let's get into it. The perspective of my research is life history theory, an evolutionary concept that attempts to explain how and why organisms vary in their patterns of behavior. The theory attributes many of the differences we see in individual behavior to an unconscious biological mechanism called life history strategy. Life history strategy has been shaped by long-term evolutionary processes, and it refers to the behaviors individuals take to facilitate their survival and reproduction. These behaviors include mating strategy, reproductive patterns, and methods of child rearing. Life history strategy exists on a spectrum between fast and slow. When you think of fast strategies, think of short-term goals with the focus on quantity of offspring, and when you think of slow strategies, think of long-term goals with the focus on quality of offspring. Slower strategies are geared towards long-term reproductive success by investing more effort and resources into offspring and adopting more healthy habits. The philosophy is wait until the timing is right before having kids, and then after having kids, invest resources into them to improve long-term success. On the other hand, faster strategies seek more immediate reproductive opportunities with behaviors like earlier age of sexual debut and greater number of sex partners. These strategies improve reproductive success in the short term in the face of poor long-term prospects. The philosophy is mate now while we still can, because the future environment is uncertain and potentially dangerous. Over time, humans have shifted gradually towards a slower strategy in general. Evidence suggests that life history strategy may be related to the harshness of the individual's environment during the period of development. Environmental factors that lead to the adoption of a particular strategy include the access to resources, the average life expectancy, the presence or absence of disease, the presence of stressors, and the predictability of the environment in which the individual develops. In high resource or benign environments, a slower strategy makes sense, whereas in lower resource or harsher environments, a faster strategy is conversely more adaptive. Thus, an organism's strategy may be related to the harshness of its developmental environment. In our modern age, urban environments in particular can foster harsh developmental conditions. Consequently, I chose a measure of city stress to determine the level of environmental harshness in this sample. My research sought to answer the questions: is urban environmental stress connected to life history strategy? And if so, which components of stress and life history strategy are connected? Since my study is only correlational, I cannot conclude that one variable causes the other, and rather I can only conclude that there may be a relationship between the two variables. I hypothesized that more urban stress will be linked to faster life history strategy overall. I predicted that less urban stress will be linked to slower strategy behaviors like insight planning and control and parental relationship quality, among others. And I also anticipated that there would be no relationship between stress and religiosity. As for the method I used to collect data to answer my research questions, I created a survey that combined two pre-existing scales. For the measure of life history strategy, I chose the trusted mid-length scale called the KSF42. The KSF42 includes 7 subscales, each measuring a different component of life history strategy. These subscales include religiosity, romantic partner attachment, parental relationship quality, and more. To measure urban environmental stressors, I chose the City Stress Inventory. The City Stress Inventory was initially developed and given to Baltimore City youth almost 20 years ago, making it fit for the sample at hand. The City Stress Inventory includes 2 subdivisions or subscales measuring neighborhood violence and neighborhood decay, a physical breakdown of infrastructure. Here is a sample of the first 8 questions of the City Stress Inventory. Notice how the first question is one from the neighborhood violence subscale, while the second question is part of the neighborhood decay subscale. And next, a sample of the first 24 questions of the KSF42. Notice how the first 6 questions make up the Insight, Planning, and Control subscale, and questions 7 through 12 make up the General Altruism subscale, for example. Here are the scale reliabilities for the KSF and the CSI, broken down by each subscale. Chromebox alpha is the measure of the consistency of a set of items within a scale, meaning each of the items are closely related. Higher alpha values are better, and all of the alpha values for each of these scales and subscales are good. I uploaded the survey consisting of these two scales to the Psych Research pool and to my personal social media pages, and encouraged people to share the link when they were done, utilizing both convenience and snowball sampling methods. 114 participants in total responded to the survey, with 54 males and 60 females in a variety of races. Most participants were located in the Baltimore City or the greater Baltimore area. Here you see the data after being analyzed for Pearson's R values. R values refer to the extent to which variables correlate with each other, with larger values meaning stronger correlation and negative values indicating an inverse relationship. As you can see from the chart, the strongest and only significant correlation I discovered was between romantic partner attachment and city stress. The results of my study were interesting. Opposed to my first hypothesis, the data failed to demonstrate a relationship between city stress and life history strategy in general. However, there was a small to moderate negative relationship between the city stress inventory and the romantic partner attachment subscale of the KSF42, with the correlation coefficient R being negative 0.294. Harsher environments were associated with less secure or more insecure romantic partner attachment style. Romantic partner attachment style refers to one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in romantic relationships. People with secure attachment style are comfortable with intimacy, at ease, satisfied, and emotionally available in romantic relationships, whereas people with insecure or anxious avoidant attachment style are more likely to feel doubtful, defensive, dismissive, codependent, unsatisfied, or uncomfortable with emotional closeness in romantic relationships. One potential explanation for this finding is that insecure attachment is somehow related to the unpredictability of harsh developmental environments. Another potential explanation for the relationship between attachment style and urban stress from an evolutionary perspective could be that in an environment with less resources for survival, like ones in which urban stressors occur, individuals would benefit from being less securely attached to their partners, for this may enable them to engage in more promiscuity and subsequently improve their reproductive fitness. Expecting to find a much higher association between urban stress and the parental relationship quality subscale of the KSF42, the lack of association was surprising. The life history theory literature notes parental involvement as a large factor in life history strategy. Less parental involvement is typically associated with faster life history strategy. The failure of the current study to find a relationship between these two variables is consequently interesting and may point to a flaw in the methods of data collection used, or simply a lack of correlation between urban environmental stress as measured by the city stress inventory and life history strategy as measured by the KSF42. These findings may be useful in contributing to the breadth of knowledge regarding urban environmental stress and life history strategy, and the results should be used to inform future research directions. Problems with this study include small sample size. The long length of the survey could have prevented people from answering accurately and thoughtfully. There may simply not be a relationship between these two scales, and the sample may have included more benign environments with less environmental stress. Future research would increase the sample size, collect data in a lab to improve the thoroughness of participants' responses, and maybe just choose a different pairing of scales or variables. On the following slides are the references I utilized. Otherwise, this concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.